Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to this training, this document. We're going to cover how to become the person you've always wanted to be. The person that you imagine, the person that you could feel is sitting, waiting for you, watching you, seeing if you're going to take the steps, when you're going to take the steps. And I'm going to teach you exactly how to achieve that person. Nothing works unless you do. It is a quote by Maya Angelou, and this blueprint is included in that. Nothing is going to work in here or in anything else unless you get to work yourself. So the overview, we're going to go over awareness. We're going to get into how to find love in work, the 4 stages, implementing the law of attraction, which is absolutely necessary, building your personal system, the internal battle, the reward, and the final thoughts, which are important. No matter if you watch 30 seconds of this video or the whole thing, the final thoughts wrap it up in a very nice way. So we are going to start off with becoming aware of a lacking identity. That is number 1. Most people will live their entire lives stuck as the same version of themselves, not because they didn't want to change, but because they never became somebody new. This is not about want. This is not about feeling. This is about action and reality. You do not get what you want in life. You get what you are. And that is the basis, that is the thesis of this entire training. One thing I want you to do right now as an exercise is ask yourself, who am I? And give yourself about 5 to 10 seconds, pause if you have to answer that question. Who are you? In very layman's terms. Okay, the chances are you probably don't have a solid answer that you are proud of saying. And that is the big problem. And that's exactly what we are going to fix today. I'm not going to get into exactly the specifics, but this is tailored for anybody who needs it. And it's very purposeful in that way. So you know how you answered. And if you're still listening, I'm likely correct. Your entire external world is a mirror of your internal identity. Who you are in here, specifically talking about your heart. If you still see yourself as lazy, undisciplined, or the guy who never sticks to things, then it doesn't matter what goals you write down. You will always fall back to who you believe you are. This blueprint is about becoming the person that you've always wanted to be, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Think about it as the trinity or the triad, mentally, physically, and spiritually. 3 realms of the universe and the mind. Not by chasing motivation, this is much deeper than motivation, but by rewiring who you are at the core. People love to use that term rewiring, but we're going to actually get into how to do that. I guarantee you've never learned how to do it properly. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be questioning your identity. Falling in love with the work. Once you became aware, this is the first necessary step. Motivation fades, passion burns out. The people who win long term are the ones who fall in love with the work itself. When you genuinely love the process, training, building, reading, creating, you don't need constant rewards. You just show up. You start to crave the grind because it represents progress, not punishment. In other words, you crave the grind because it becomes your positive identity, right? Right now, the grind is associated with a negative identity of yourself. You think about the grind of going to the gym every day, and your mind goes to, yeah, that's something I haven't done yet. Once you change that, it starts to represent your progress. So once you've been going to the gym every day for 3 months, you think about that grind and you say, yeah, that's something I've been doing. I'm proud of myself. When you fall in love with the work, the results chase you. You know exactly what that means. You stop asking, when will I make it? And you start asking, how can I go deeper? That is the big change in your mindset. You go from, oh yeah, how can I create this? How can I start to go to the gym? No, once you're 3 months in, boom. It's how can I make progress faster? How can I get my biceps as big as this guy that I see every day? All these new thoughts enter your mind, thoughts that you have never ever had before. And that's why it seems so easy for a guy like me or somebody who actually goes deep into something, a specific realm, because you get these new thoughts and it becomes your identity and you fall in love with the work, right? You stop seeing discipline as something you force and start seeing it as a reflection of your character. You start to identify as disciplined. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And your systems are built on what you love doing consistently. Right now, your systems are bad. They are terrible. right? If you're watching this video, if you're trying to get the value out of it, it's likely your systems are bad, right? You probably scroll, you probably don't have a great bedtime, you don't wake up at the same time, you're not getting adequate sleep, you have vices. It's all what your systems are. And your systems are very, very important. And write that word down, and we're gonna get into how to fix those and completely overhaul them and then make it very easy for you. But systems is very important for the next step. The 4 stages of transformation. Transformation is not random. It follows a mental pattern. You have to understand where you are in the process to keep moving forward. So transformation, basically, think about it like water to ice, right? Everybody knows that transformation. Water gets to a certain temperature. The temperature is the prerequisite to becoming ice. Water and ice have very, very different and opposite effects in the universe. You put water in a bucket and the water forms to the bucket, right? The water bends to the will of the bucket. Think about it that way. Ice is not like that at all. You put ice in a bucket and ice just sits there and slowly melts into water. They are very, very different, but the only thing that changes is the temperature. Nothing else. Not the chemical structure, nothing. So if water can go from the bounds of changing to whatever container that it's in to ice, which is one of the most rigid and stubborn pieces of matter in the universe, then you can go from somebody who doesn't work out, doesn't improve themselves, doesn't read books, to a multi-millionaire, jacked young man or woman. It's easy, right? Water changes to ice every day. That's my point. Number 1 is the wake-up phase, awareness. Think about this as when you put a piece of ice, imagine you put it on a pan, boom. That's when the flame turns on. The pan starts to heat up. This is the I'm done moment. You finally realize you're living below your potential. You see how much you've been wasting. Guess what? You watching this video and actually spending the time, especially if you're taking notes, you are in this phase. Congratulations. It is uncomfortable. You're probably bored right now, but that is where transformation begins. Pain is the spark. You'll never change what you tolerate. You are not tolerating your current situation. So you are watching this video to improve that. And that's the phase we're in right now, which is why I did in the training. Number 2 is going to be the discipline phase, which is resistance. You start building habits. Everything feels forced, unnatural, and awkward. This is where you question yourself. This is where you start to come up with excuses, come up with alternative things that you could do. Like, for example, if you want to be a YouTuber very, very badly, this is where you start to say, I kind of like working on my hands better. Maybe I'll just do this YouTube thing part-time and see if I fall in love with it. No, that's the excuse. That is your mind and the devil lying to you. Your old identity starts fighting back. This isn't you. This won't last. This is where 99% of people quit. That is absolutely true. Not because it's too hard, but because it feels unfamiliar. Your brain is addicted to comfort, and your comfort zone is your enemy. Your comfort zone is a natural mechanism within your body to keep you alive. We don't need to stay alive nowadays, right? There is no reason to live to survive in 2025. Bars. That was fire. Anyways, your brain is addicted to comfort for that very reason. You need to chase thriving. You need to chase success. You need to be chasing above average, right? Because surviving no longer cuts it. No girl says, "Oh, I can't wait to find my future husband. He's going to be really good at surviving." No. She wants millions, bro. She wants big muscles. That's what she wants. She don't want somebody who's surviving. Okay? Every rep, every small win, every uncomfortable action is a vote for your new identity. Keep stacking those votes, right? Keep stacking every vote you get. No matter how small, no matter how minuscule, stack the votes. That's how you win. Number 3, the alignment phase. This is where the remaining 90% of the 99% of people who quit, that leaves 1%, right? 1%, 90% of that 1%, so like 0.01% are going to fail here, right? Because once you feel this momentum, this is when your brain chemistry changes. This is what rewiring really is, right? You've been consistent long enough that things start clicking. The gym is not a chore, it's a normal part of the day. You are not fighting yourself anymore. Your identity and your actions begin to align, right? It's natural. That is what we call momentum. And that's when the law of attraction kicks in. That's when you start using the law of attraction as a tool, which is absolutely necessary, and I'm going to get into that. You start attracting better people, better opportunities, and better energy on a spiritual level. Not because of luck, but because your frequency, the inner, the heart, has changed. The mastery phase, This is where your identity shifts, not just your vibration. The new version of you becomes permanent. You no longer try to be disciplined, you just are, right? That's why when you go to the gym, like half the people there have been lifting for like 10 years. Because like once you reach that 3-year phase, right? Like, once you reach that like 180-day phase, like it becomes permanent, right? That's why it's so skewed. You've become the person who does the work without question. The results you used to chase are now chasing you. And that is a very real thing. The results chase you. Same thing with women, same thing with money, same thing with energy. This is true freedom. Being able to trust yourself completely, right? This is what you are chasing. This is what being the person you want to be really is. And now we're going to lock in exactly how you can get to this. The law of attraction, which is very, very important. Identity in action. For those of you who don't know, the law of attraction basically states the things you think about, the things you consider, the things you observe, right? You physically attract those things into your life. The extreme example is that if you think about red cars, you will physically see and attract more red cars in your path, one way or the other. Whether you go to that full belief or not, the law of attraction is real. At the very least, you will notice more red cars. The law of attraction is not magic. It is psychology. You do not attract what you want, right? You do not attract what you want. You attract what you think you deserve. You attract what you think you deserve. Your subconscious mind does not listen to what you say. It watches what you do, and it pays attention to how you feel. Write that down. Your subconscious mind pays attention to how you feel. Your brain. Every time you act like your higher self, you're proving to your brain that you are that person because you are instilling that feeling. Feeling is the important part. This doesn't work if you can't replicate the feeling. That's how belief becomes reality. Energy does not lie. People can feel when you've stepped up into your purpose. In other words, feelings are contagious. When you have a feeling and you interact with another person and spread your energy, that feeling will spread to them like wildfire. When your habits, mindset, and goals all line up, that's when it's easier to create that feeling. A caveat to that is if you are religious, if you pray, the best way to pray, or a great way to pray, is if you can instill that feeling within your mind and then communicate that with God. That's even stronger than words, in my opinion. Try it sometime. All right. The blueprint, building your system. This is where you want to create a diagram in your notes and tailor it to yourself, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Becoming your best self is not luck. It is built from structure, repetition, and clarity. Below is a framework to build your own system, something you live by daily. So number one, very important, is your morning setup. We're not talking about morning routines. We're not talking about anything crazy like that, but this is just your morning setup. The point of this is to reduce friction, make everything easier. You wake up early for peace, not productivity, meaning I believe you should wake up before your friends, before the people your age group normally do. If you're 15 to 35, most people wake up around 9 o'clock. Lazy people wake up at like 10, 11. Wake up at 8, wake up at 7, whatever's right for you. But do make sure it's a little bit earlier. Aligning with the sun helps your energy. That's a caveat, so try that out. Spend 5 minutes visualizing your higher self and acting like him or her. The caveat to this is align yourself and visualize the feeling. Instill the feeling of you hopping in your Ferrari on your way to your 7th gym session of the week with your amazing body and your beautiful girlfriend. How's that version of you feeling in that moment? And then feel like that upon your wake up. Scrolling, mind you, scrolling on your phone is going to kill that. You will never be able to feel that if you open your phone and scroll or you distract yourself. Move your body. Gym, stretch, walk. Start your day with something physical. I like to go to the gym off rip. You can walk, you could take a walk, you could stretch. Going to the gym off rip can be negative. It can kind of make you tired when you go to do your work for the day. But do something physical a little bit. If you go to the gym later, that's fine. But go get some sun, go get a walk, do some yoga, something like that for about 10 minutes. No phone until you've done something that pushes your life forward. Journaling is a big win here. You can leave a journal next to your bed and just writing it as soon as you get up, and boom, you're gonna be winning. You're gonna want to do that before you get on your phone. That's the easiest way to remove the friction, especially if you want to break that scrolling habit. You win the day by owning the first hour. This is true. Daily discipline. Fall in love with the routine. It's where you focus on your inputs, not your outcomes. You win small, win daily. So every day you should have 10 goals, small, that you will accomplish, that you write down every single day. One of my goals for today was, wake up at 7:30, which I do every day. Boom, right away. I opened my eyes, achieved a goal, right? Another one of my goals was hit my workout. Boom, did it, no problem. These goals are small, right? Just do them all every day. Every action is a vote for your identity. Every time you do this, your inner self aligns, becomes easier and easier every single time. Think about it like a video game, right? Like you're trying to get votes to become the president in a video game or something. It's literally that linear and that simple. Keep promises to yourself, even when no one is watching. This is big. A lot of you get caught up in the vanity. Me personally, I can get caught up in the vanity of wanting people to know I'm winning. That's not what's important. Prove to yourself that you're winning through your self-love. The goal is not to be perfect, it's to be consistent. Night, reset. Reprogram your mind. Journal. What did I do today that aligned with my higher self? Or, check off the goals that you hit. 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Whatever you hit, check that off. That is going to align you with your higher self faster than anything else. Write gratitude for what you already have. That is important. Gratitude is important. Thank God for what he gives you every day. Even if you're 120 pounds and your only goal is to, build a big body, go thank God for the breath in your lungs that you already have. Thank God for your 2 legs, for your 2 eyes, 2 ears, Thank God for that. That will help a lot. Long way. Visualize what's next before bed. So you always want to visualize the morning and visualize that feeling right before bed. You can go to bed to music. You can go to bed to a YouTube video, whatever. God made us rest for a reason. Mental rest is important. If you've been working all day, there's nothing wrong with, rest and taking your mind away from everything. It's more sustainable. So that is completely fine. And your subconscious will start to build that reality overnight. You will wake up as a new person. It's really weird. It's weird how that works. Go to bed with some momentum and you will wake up feeling good. You can become a whole new person overnight. It's really, really weird. It's a deep psychological thing I'm not going to get into, but just instill that belief and do what I'm telling you. 6 is the internal battle, killing the old you. Now, this is one of the most important parts. This is just do this, right? Like if there's one thing to do, this is something that's going to be happening constantly. Do this. You can't step into your new life still being the old version of you. Growth feels like war because it is. You're fighting old habits, beliefs, versions of yourself that don't belong anymore. This is harder than it looks, right? It is literally war. Like instill that into your mind that it is war. And the reason you can do it is because we used to go to war. This is like the first 100-year period in history where not a majority of the population of men are going to war. So channel that energy and use it for this. You'll lose people who liked the weaker version of you. You'll be misunderstood. You'll feel isolated. In other words, you're going to piss people off. If you have friends that like you, that, you guys go out together, do this, do that, they're going to start to get pissed at you. They're going to be like, dude, it's not going to be so covert, but they're going to say things like, dude, you're changing. I understand you want to do this, but dude, going out, drinking, blah, blah, blah. This ain't going to hurt you. All that's BS, man. It's all trying to drag you down. It's going to be sneaky. The devil's going to be sneaky about it, but you have to cut that out of your life, and it's coming. So prepare. And that is the price of evolution. You have to bury the old identity mentally, emotionally, and physically. Remember the Trinity: mentally, emotional, physically. Because the old you can't survive in the life you're trying to build. A small caveat: the Trinity, mentally, emotionally, physically, that is one of the most important parts of the video. I'm not breaking it down here. It's much too deep. Do your own research to get that. I have other videos that talk about that. If you have any specific questions, DM me on Instagram. Let me know. I will try to help you with your understanding because that is very important, and I want to help. So, and then the final step, number 7, please write everything I tell you down right now. Internalize this. The reward: freedom, peace, power. That is what you are seeking. The ultimate reward isn't the body. It's not the money. It's not the recognition. It's not the Ferrari. It's not the Lamborghini. It's not the mansion. It's not the girlfriend. It's the peace that comes from being proud of yourself. You've built self-respect. You've proven to yourself that you can do what you said you'd do. It brings you a peace. It almost makes life, it puts you in the state of play with life, right? Like the stress is gone. You can achieve a multitude of great things once you do all of this, right? Like it is ridiculous how much you are chasing this peace and you don't even realize it. So please understand that this peace, freedom, and power is so, so important. And that's real power. Knowing you're unstoppable because you've already been through hell and did not break. Meaning you could do it all over again 10 times in a row with a blindfold on. And right now, you don't even believe it's necessarily possible until you go through these steps. My final message, do not wait to become that person. Today, you decide that old version is gone by entering these steps, this blueprint. Every action from this moment forward is a vote for your higher self. Fall in love with the work, fall in love with the grind. Once you do, success, peace, and purpose will chase you. And you will not feel that until you build the momentum. So start. Internalize all of this information. As always, this is all true. This is all objective reality. Believe it so you can achieve it. Get to work, because remember, nothing works unless you do. And watching this video is it's probably pretty boring. So that's a lot of work you already did today. Be proud of yourself, but build the momentum, build the snowball. Get to work, and thank you guys so much for watching.